Thank you so much, Gurvinder ji. It's my pleasure and privilege to be here with such wonderful audience. We have coaches from Bangalore, from Lebanon, and I know Ravi Das Gupta, Madam Dhara, personally, and thank you for being present here. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes.
Thank you. So once again, good evening, fellow ICF members in Oman and from all over. And thank you for joining. It is my pleasure and privilege. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank Gurvinder Ji Pun for the honor and privilege to have given me this opportunity to have this session conducted. So what do we see here is my first question that I would like to ask the audience. These pictures tell us something. I will greatly appreciate your response. Please unmute and do say, what do we see here?
This is swarm of birds. I've forgotten the name of what birds they are.
Yes, that's wonderful. So these pictures tell us something, and Coach Ravi is very right that these are birds. This is murmuration, and the murmuration is a wonderful formation that occurs, and thousands of birds take a flight up in the skies, and it is certainly a pleasure to watch them creating different formations. The reason I bring this up is that we as coach have a responsibility to help our clients in their individual journey of transformation. We are actually supporting our clients when some phenomenal changes are occurring in their lives. And like these birds are perhaps vulnerable when they are individual, but in a group as large as this, they derive their strength, they derive support from each other. And it is the same situation with us coaches, that we have a formation like ICF where we are able to thrive. And that is what makes ICF indeed very unique. So I would like to take the opportunity to first of all thank the ICF International Coaching Federation for the kind of activities and the kind of opportunities that it creates for us coaches from a professional point of view. Having said that, I also would like to say that Gurvinder Ji Pun is doing a great job as a chairperson for ICF in Oman. As we all know that we all grow, our learning is enhanced if we are teaching, and at the same time in teaching our learning grows. Several programs that organized by Gurvinder Ji at a frequency of 3 or 4 weeks and encouraging members like me to take such sessions, and that is indeed very inspiring and indicative of the community of us coaches wanting to do learning and sharing. And in this process, it is not only that we grow, but we also help others grow. So thank you, Gurvinder Ji. As it is very common for each of us as coaches to begin the journey into a particular session through an anchoring process, a process wherein we take opportunity to clear the space in ensuring that we are focused literally on the present moment by keeping all our distractions aside, our phones on mute, being in the space physically, or let's say here virtually, as well as mentally. So may I request about 30 to 40 seconds of complete silence, allowing our thoughts and mind to be focused on the session today, so that we could all enjoy each other's presence and full devotedness on the session that we have. Thank you for that. Thank you. So now let us begin the journey of designing one's life as a coach. I have borrowed this concept from an engineering mind, and essentially when we talk of designing ourselves as a coach, we are talking of taking a particular thought process that an engineer might have in identifying a problem by empathy, definition of the problem, ideating several possible solutions, creating a prototype, testing it out. And that process itself is very much akin for many of us, because we are moving from one journey to another into the profession of coaching. Certainly for me, coaching is not my first profession. I presume that it might be the case for many of us. So may I ask a question of the audience, and please respond in the chat box. Is coaching your first profession? Yes, we have responses saying no, no, no. I haven't seen any yes responses yet. So if coaching is not the first profession, what has been the first profession? So we have one response saying that HR professional, HR consultant, and then pursued his profession.
Suresh, we have about 5-6 yes responses also.
Oh, wonderful. That is so nice. So, which means that for some of us, we have coaching as a first profession. For those of us who have had coaching as a second profession or some other profession, I believe most of us would be from an HR journey journeying into coaching. Thank you for your responses. So if coaching is not our first profession, and we are looking at designing oneself as a coach, or even if it is a first profession, it is very essential that we talk of growth mindset. And in that thought process of growth mindset, we always keep on learning and improving ourselves, making sure that we have undertaken all the right effort and attitude to make all the difference, and always staying in that inspired zone. So as we said a little while ago, that when we grow others, we grow ourselves. And in the journey of transition from another profession into coaching profession, it becomes imperative we start asking challenging questions of ourselves. And some of these challenging questions we obviously borrow from the concept of managing an emotional coachee, wherein we bring about the 4 elements of normalizing the situation for the coachee, putting it in a different priority, so reprioritizing, repositioning, and reframing. In a similar way, this journey, this motion from a different profession into, say, the profession of coaching, we use these 4 concepts to manage ourselves better in terms of our mind, body, and soul. And that leads me to say that whatever processes that we follow, whatever structure we follow in our coaching process, it is equally very, very essential that we bring about a radical thinking into our processes, asking powerful questions of ourselves, such as, have I set clear goals for myself? Am I doing my best to achieve those goals? Am I doing everything that is possible to find meaning so that I'm fully engaged? I'm building a positive relationship with everything around me, and first of all, being most happy. Because as a coach, it becomes an imperative that I am in the best frame of thinking as well as behavior in order to ensure that my client responds to my interventions. And that makes us very, very effective in order to ensure that it is this process which becomes absolutely essential. And from that perspective, I would like to say that coaching is not about me. No, coaching is not about us as coach, but just being present with the client, acknowledging the issue that the client brings forth, offering various choices, clear intentions being set, and being in the flow all the time. Of course, the intervention that we bring about as a coach is perhaps the best alternative that the coachee may want. Of course, keeping in mind that there is no clinical indication that it needs a therapeutic intervention, but for most of the cases, we are really talking about coaching as a very, very purposeful intervention that an individual client may be able to benefit from. So we did have a session where Dr. Claire Beckett conducted about a few weeks ago, wherein she did some wonderful examples of using metaphors, and that would help elicit responses from the client. And as a result of that, the journey from being a good coach to a great coach can help. And in this journey that we are wanting to undertake today, I would like to ask a question, that how important it is to have a purpose. And a second question, what is purpose? Would somebody like to respond? Again, I would request, please unmute and do respond on that.
Can you ask the question again, Suresh? Sorry.
Sure, Gada. Thank you for that. The question is, what is purpose? When we say purpose, what do we mean by purpose?
The reason behind anything.
Sure, yes. The reason behind anything, yes. Anyone else?
What drives you to do something?
Yeah, the drive, the inner drive, the sense of direction. Thank you for sharing. Drive.
Finding meaning.
Finding meaning, excellent. Finding meaning. Yes, is there anything else that you would like to say? Way back.
Knowing why.
Sorry?
Knowing why you want to do something.
Knowing why, yes. Wonderful. Knowing why I want to do something, yes. So way back in 4th century BC, Aristotle came up with a message that everything in life has a purpose. And obviously, researchers did a lot of research. There was one thing which came about very evidently, and that was that research showed that about 7,000 respondents who were perhaps more matured in terms of their age, and they participated in this research, went on to find that finding purpose made these people live a longer life. And therefore, it can be concluded that having a purpose makes it an essential ingredient, not only to live longer, but also live a life of fulfillment and happiness. And knowing our purpose helps us achieve our goals. Of course, it's not vice versa, that achieving goals is helping achieve our purpose. No, sometimes goals could be much different than the purpose. And even that achievement of those goals, it will not lead to happiness. It will not lead to satisfaction and fulfillment. And the purpose perhaps remains unattended to. So finding one's purpose is an exciting journey. And certainly it is not a stressful one, because that is a rewarding process that we will go through. So coaching community is the resource that helps us answer this important question. And that is that purpose is to be defined for each one of us. And that can easily happen by borrowing the concepts from the engineering world, where we say that we need to connect the dots, which might be that if we are essentially looking at our life, then we need to ask ourselves, what do I believe in? Are my beliefs keeping me in a zone which is full of comfort, certainty, stability, predictability, or my beliefs are limiting me, saying that I am not enough? Maybe I'm not deserving enough to be happy. Maybe I have limits which are causing me to self-sabotage. And all of these obviously end up causing a lot of issues in our individual lives. So once again, coming back to the point that we need to find our purpose. And finding purpose essentially means what gives us fulfillment as an individual coach. Is it money? Is it the possibility of transforming lives? Is my story inspiring enough? And how motivated am I as a coach? Am I able to remain in a zone as a inspiration for myself as well as for others? And therefore, am I in a position to be able to deal with my client or talk to my client in a way such that the questions that I ask are going to cause them to feel inspired, feel motivated to pursue the answers on their own? I bring this wonderful analogy about reservoir. We all have done gardening at some point in time or the other. And we use this hose pipe to water the plants. Obviously, the tap is like a reservoir that allows the flow of water, and we perhaps adjust the flow at the other end when we are watering the plant, either using the force of the water in a sharper way. Maybe it is a small leaf or a flower that we want to water. We will use it in a sharper way just to ensure that the leaf or the flower is well watered without much of a force. Whereas if it is a root, we will use the entire force of the water to perhaps water the plant. But to my mind, the tap is really not the reservoir. The real reservoir is up there somewhere in the form of a water tank. And I say that the reservoir is more like my knowledge, my learning, my ability to be in that zone where I have added to myself a lot of ability and skills in the form of the hunger to know more and more about everything. And that puts me in a zone where it offers me tremendous fulfillment as a coach. And that perhaps helps me to say that I would be better able to define my purpose in a way such that my learning continues forever. So arriving at our purpose helps us arrive at client's purpose. And here I would like to throw up another thought process from the audience, is to ask a question as to whether our practice currently, is it such that it is giving us enough of time and opportunity to delve deeper into a client's purpose through sessions which are perhaps 3 weeks, 3 sessions, 4 sessions, or it is instant coaching, which is just one problem in 1 session or 2 sessions. Maybe 6 sessions is perhaps the right way to reach a session, reach a purpose or an objective that will help us reach the client's purpose very effectively. Would somebody like to offer that, their own individual observations?
Yes, I agree with you. 6 sessions is something which is, because what happens is you have the chemistry, then you understand, and then you are looking at, because if you are talking about a one-off problem and a solution, I think that is something which can be provided by anyone if they go to, generally who has a little bit of coaching frame of mind. But if you are looking at completely understanding the client, putting yourself in his shoes, and then looking at a longer kind of perspective. So I fully agree with you that yes, it is, yeah, up to 6 sessions are required for that, or maybe more also, because we know examples where someone is coaching for someone for maybe many years, and that process goes on. So yeah, it should not be a maybe one kind of short kind of session, which has to be a more sustained and engagement.
Thank you, Ehsanji. Thank you. That is so very true, that the sessions ought to be for a longer duration and not really an intervention that is short term, like an instant solution to a particular problem that the client may want. And therefore, the entire framework of the ICF, as I was told some time ago when I was interacting with some person who came from all the way from ICF International, was that the framework, though, does not specify that there has to be a certain number of sessions, but it always helpful to have, as it was before, at least 8 to 10 sessions, without which the purpose or without which the objective of helping the client perhaps is not served. But is there anybody else who would like to share their opinion or their practices? Fair enough. Thank you for that. We will move on. So therefore, in order to find one's purpose, let us take the opportunity to look at some of the mission statements that perhaps are most interesting, and at the same time you will find them very purposeful enough. So I first would like to show the mission statement of a person called Nipun Mehta. I wonder how many of us have heard of him, but this gentleman is an ex-Silicon Valley technocrat, and sometime in '99 he decided that no, life wasn't as fulfilling enough despite everything that perhaps was available to him at his disposal as a successful Silicon Valley technocrat. But he created a foundation called Service Space, along with a few like-minded people. And today that foundation is working on all kinds of services, entirely non-profit. And the mission statement that he has created for himself is so wonderful. Bring smiles to the world with stillness in my heart. Some of the wonderful things that he is doing, one of them is so interesting. It is called Karma Kitchen. And Karma Kitchen is that you go to a restaurant called Karma Kitchen, have your meal, enjoy it as much as you want. And when you are walking out, you get a bill that says 0. Somebody else has paid for you before. And this pay forward concept, he says, if you want, go ahead and pay for someone else to have a meal afterwards, after you leave. And that is becoming so popular that there are Karma Kitchen restaurants which have come up in several parts of the world. And in a similar way, he does many things which are indeed very fascinating and quite out of the way in today's transactional world. And that goes on to say that when we talk of transactions, it is not always wealth that is counted in money terms, but the wealth in the form of just that feeling of compassion, just that feeling of sharing, just that feeling of a love, togetherness. That is the wealth that we ought to be working towards. That is his philosophy. But just I am bringing it across as this particular mission statement struck with me so very well, that bring smiles to the world with stillness in my heart. Of course, a drug leader or a drug company leader went on to write his purpose statement very effectively as use my passion and expertise to inspire researchers into specifically focusing on drugs that help cure rare diseases. Oprah Winfrey says that she wants to be a teacher who would be known for inspiring her students and such that they would be able to live a much better life for themselves. And Richard Branson goes on to say that have fun and of course learn through your mistakes. So these are the kind of mission statements. How many of us would like to construct mission statements that really keep us focused in the direction of what we want to achieve without there being any hindrance in the process of doing what we are doing? Yet another mission statement that struck with me very well was that of Denise Morrison, the CEO of Campbell Soup. And she says, serve as a leader, leading a balanced life, applying ethical principles that would make a significant difference. Mind, body, and soul, working on all three of them. So in the process of finding our mission statement, let us explore what Google wants. And Google goes on to say that the world's information may organize it in such a way that it's universally accessible and useful to all of us. But Google's mission statement is based on the core values that it cherishes. And the core values are such that they become the purpose of doing whatever they are doing in a very responsible way. So in one of the countries where the authorities wanted information to be shared about individuals, Google refused and went on to say that we will not share in private information with anyone. So doing the right thing, never try to be doing anything wrong, don't be evil. And that becomes the fulcrum of everything that they do. So in this quest to finding our purpose, we come to this slide where we are talking about values. And this, about 60 values we borrowed from valuecenter.com. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to perhaps look at these values and identify them as to which value we resonate with. So would you like to take the opportunity to identify some 8 to 10 values that works with you, that resonates with you? Individually, take some time, pen down some of these values. And I hope these are, easily identifiable, resonating with you. Some 8 or 10 of them, please. Let's say we have about 5 more minutes to pen down those values, and then if you would like to share some of them. Anybody would like to share the values that are resonating with you, or you find them very purposeful in your life?
Suresh, I find integrity, initiative, risk-taking, self-discipline. Clarity.
Clarity, yes. Thank you for that. We have Gada giving her values as balance, clarity, future generations, independence, perseverance, enthusiasm, family. Akil Al-Azmi, personal growth, respect, initiative. Excellent. There is this organization called valuecenters.com, or website called valuecenters.com, which offers a wonderful service. These are values that get classified and help us understand what is the motivation that is behind these values. And as a result of which, we know as to the motivation is fear, or is it transforming ourselves from that fear zone into a zone that is more of doing common good. And as we transition from that fear mode into doing the common good, that is the area where most of us as coaches operate in. And that was such a wonderful revelation for me, because we have all heard of this Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it goes on in the form of, okay, the highest need is achieved, the self-esteem, self-actualization, and so on and so forth. But then it goes on to reverse that triangle and take up another triangle on top of that, which goes on to tell us that, look, once you transition the fear-based needs, so safety, security, relationship, belonging, achieving some name and fame for ourselves, all these are in one way or the other fear-based. But the moment we transition them into a zone which is more of a zone wherein we want to do common good, like what Nipun Mehta wanted to do, that is the time when we really fulfill ourselves. That is the way that would end up giving us some real satisfaction. So coaching, mentoring is perhaps one such. Future generations is the other. Perseverance is perhaps lower down, but courage, creativity, making a difference, vision, these are the ones which will take us into the higher plane of doing something for common good, community involvement. And this Barrett's.com or www.valuecenters.com gives us the opportunity to find out that. And I would urge every one of us, if you are interested, please go ahead and visit this website. It's free to do this exercise at least. The others perhaps require enrollment and things like that. But this would be a lot of value addition to each one of us in our journey of understanding and finding our purpose. This is what I am referring to. So this was, of course, how many needs or how many of these values. So survival, relationship, self-esteem are the ones, as you would recollect from the Maslow's hierarchy of needs-based theory. But then there is a transformation from these fear-based needs into a need which is doing something for the common good. And this is what makes a difference. May I request now all of us to perhaps break into rooms and prepare a purpose statement in our groups. So using the values that we have identified, if we can break into groups and prepare our own purpose statement, that would be a kind of a mission accomplished for me. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I hope you had good interaction in the breakout rooms. Would anybody like to share? We have had 3 rooms, I think, and feedback from every room as to what purpose statement did they create. And how many of us in each room were able to create that for themselves? Would you like to share?
Yes, Suresh.
Thank you.
So this is Aqil speaking. I was in a breakout room with Madan, and we had a bit of fun there. If I am to speak on his purpose statement, it was creating or adding value to the people around him.
Right.
And so he feels really energized. He feels that this is the drive. This could be a common purpose or sub-purpose though, with coaches. Something that drives coaches from inside. My purpose statement is to create shifting points in the lives of people who I interact with.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by shifting points, if you can share? Or would you
so a shifting point is a permanent paradigm shift about something. It's when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so as a coach, I do mirror the thought process, the belief system, the values of the client to the client and try to challenge them. In what way is this helping you move forward, etc., etc. So a shifting point, as I was mentioning to Madan, could be a book. A shifting point could be a conversation. A shifting point could be an experience or a person. If we only give ourselves permission to learn, we are going to witness a lot of shifting points, in fact, every day.
Very interesting. Wonderful. And it seems that you have practiced shifting points as a matter of philosophy in your coaching process.
Exactly. That's the name of my business, in fact.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Yes. So that is purposeful. Everything that you do focuses around shifting point. Wow.
Exactly.
Who else would like to share? Thank you for that, Akhil. Who else would like to share their purpose?
We were 4 in the room, so we have 4 different purposes, but I would like to share mine. So it is not very well structured, but maybe you'll be able to get the essence of it. So it is like to have a clear vision which helps you and your clients to reach excellence and be efficient in whatever they do.
Wonderful. That's so nice. It's so meaningful. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I was with Mr. Baby Sam in the breakout room. So we shared our values that we have arrived at. So I have written 10 values, but he asked me to trim down to at least 3 because that is much better if this gives us more clarity and focus on what we would like to achieve and what we are passionate about.
Right.
So I came down to 3 values. So coaching, of course, I have taken that, then perseverance and leadership. So while creating the purpose statement, so I realized that coaching is a platform where we have to learn and improve. So I was thinking that I did not choose learning as one of the values, and I have added that. I don't know whether it was, it is there, learning. I think learning is not there as a value in the sheet that you have shared. So I think the purpose that I have arrived at one purpose, but Mr. Sam helped me to further polish my purpose statement. So finally, what I have arrived, my purpose is to improve my coaching skill and help others grow holistically. So this is the one that I have arrived with. Mr. Sam, would you like to share yours, or you'd like me to share that?
No. That's absolutely good. We were just having a great conversation. So also was saying, Suresh Saab was like, another purpose is to create a space to listen. The world needs to be heard these days. So as coaches, one of the purpose is to create more and more spaces, hearing spaces.
Right.
Allow people to talk, and let's be more listeners. Let's create more listeners. So that's another purpose statement. That's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Baby Sam and Madam Ambili. Thank you for that. I think we had a third room as well. Who would like to share? Mr. Gautam Bhan? Madam Sausan?
Yes, sir. I was in group 5 with Madam in group 5, and we both discussed about the values that we could resonate with, and we thought are needed for a coach or a mentor. And interestingly, we both zeroed down on maybe more than 10 or 15 of these values, which anybody would like to have as a leader. But when it comes to a mission statement for a group, we thought it better to go for that mission statement, aspire to inspire, because I had put that in the chat box, and she really liked it. I think Madam would also like to say something about this mission statement. We were both explaining to each other what is meant by the statement.
Right.
It would be every coach or a mentor has to have that inspiration, that light of inspiration in his team. And I would consider inspiration to be different from, motivation. Primarily because motivation would be short-lived. It would come and go. But inspiration will be always there from the inside of that person, and that will take him to very long road ahead. Now, if you have to inspire a person, you need to have more than these 10 or 12, in fact, all the 30 values that we were discussing. you need to have, first of all, the self-discipline, because that is how people will follow you. If you don't have
Right.
self-discipline, people will not follow you.
True.
Second thing, you need to have listening skills as well. And you need to have a vision, because any coach or a mentor needs to have a vision to lead. And so on and so forth, all the 30 qualities. Now, I would like to request Madam also, if she could also contribute anything, or if I would have missed something. Madam Abbasi, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. You got all the points. Thank you. May I add something that I'm thinking that the coaching it's a relationship about being shoulder to shoulder with the client, which means we are not, it's the client himself is the leader, but we are serving in the high level of our knowledge, skills, this client. So this is what I can add for what
Wonderful.
my colleague said. So thank you very much for sharing that and giving us the space to share our insights. He made actually a great reflection about the mission statement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, Madam. Excellent, Madam. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
putting
you.
that word.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody else? Madam Lara, Simala, Madam Gada, would you like to say something?
Yes, hi, why not?
Please.
Okay, so I actually selected from the list that you proposed, and I came up with this purpose. So I'm gonna just read it because I wrote it again. Okay, so my purpose is to maintain the balance I currently have while having financial stability. Becoming a youth coach comes from my belief in the future generations and my will to community involvement into making a difference. My aim is to be the best, and I plan to do it through continuous learning, being creative and ethical in all that I do. If I ever fail or not make it, I want to focus on perseverance and always remember my purpose.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
So very well constructed.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Suresh, I was in the room with Lara. So I also coach families. So I also took some words from the values grid. So I came up with a sentence: offer families and future generation balance, clarity, and well-being using competence and enthusiasm.
Wow.
So thank you.
That's so very well structured, Madam Gada. So very well structured. Thank you for sharing that. So nice. So thank you everybody for sharing those wonderful mission statements or your purpose statements, from adding value, using creativity, to shifting points, being inspired all the time, becoming a youth coach, and offering family and individuals specific benefits. So these are some wonderful mission statements that you have come up with. May I take the opportunity of sharing my statement? Because I'm transitioning, or so-called transitioning, from a corporate operations head. I would like to leverage learnings that I had so far, knowledge and experience of human interactions towards helping clients. And I take inspiration from our fellow colleague, Madam Lara, who just now said that she wants to be a youth coach. And I believe that today's youth are the ones who are our future tomorrow. And therefore, it becomes very essential. So if a youth client came to me and said, for any reason, that person is not able to afford me, I'm more than happy to do pro bono, because that is where the focus would be from a future generation's point of view, and giving it all that I have and I can in offering that direction and benefit to today's youngsters is what I would wholeheartedly want to do. So helping them find their own purpose and achievement of their goals is something that I would cherish doing and I would enjoy doing thoroughly. So just take one more slide and kind of a summary that purpose statement helps all of us to serve as an anchor in our coaching practices. And in order to arrive at purpose statement, we search within ourselves. That was what was articulated even a little while ago, that we search within ourselves, creating some kind of a self-awareness all the time, asking questions that what life would look like if we were living up to our full potential. We identify our values to really imply and mean that what we truly want for ourselves with our heart and soul. And of course, the factors that keep us away from our purpose statement is being either in the comfort zone or having some limiting beliefs that perhaps I'm not good enough in this area, or I'm not good enough in that area, or this doesn't work for me, or that doesn't work for me. We got to come out of that, because purpose is an enabler, helps us in our coaching practice, helping our clients find their purpose, their values and goals, and helping them solve their complexities. So it's with this, I would like to thank each one of you for your wonderful presence. Thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed speaking and talking to all of you. Perhaps the idea was sharing the learning and thereby growing. And certainly it is not in any which way something that is conceptual in nature that I want to talk about. But essentially, I wanted to share my learnings, share my own thought processes. And I hope I have achieved that as a result of your support and patience and understanding of being here with me throughout. And as I said in my beginning, that like those wonderful starling birds that, occupy the evening sky and give such wonderful formations, may the ICF community continue to thrive in creating such wonderful formations within our coaching and coaches or coaching industry. And let me thank Gurpinder Ji for your so very supportive role, and of course acting as a chair, education chair. You're doing a wonderful job. A wonderful round of applause to you, Gurpinder Ji, and similarly to all of you, my audience and my fellow colleagues who have been kind enough to give your time to this evening. Over to Gurpinder Ji.
Thank you, Suresh, Gandhi ji. Thank you very much for taking this session today. I hope we all enjoyed the session. We all learned something new. I was having a good time looking at those values and putting my purpose statement together. May I request our ICF Oman Board President, Akil Ajmi, to please offer a vote of thanks and a certificate of our appreciation to Suresh Gandhi.
Can
Thank
I
you very
take
much,
a moment?
Yes,
Can I
please.
take a moment? Gurpinder Ji, sorry, I did not ask you for your purpose statement, but since you said you have penned it down, would you like to share?
I think we'll do it over a cup of coffee.
Wonderful. That's so nice. But I would fail in my duty to acknowledge the presence of my colleague. And she herself is a coach and she manages my office as well, Madam Ambili, who was kind enough to help me with all the slides, and perhaps she has toiled hard enough to make sure that I put up my best as a result of all the work that she has done. So thank you, Madam Ambili. And thank you, Gada. You have been so kind to come all the way from Lebanon and be here this evening, despite your busy schedule. I requested Madam Gada to be there because she's such a wonderful coach herself, practicing in the niche of ADHD and helping hundreds of children overcome their challenges. So thank you, and thank you everyone, and thank you our President Akhil Azmiji. All once again back to you.
Suresh, thank you so much. The session on purpose was purposeful. I really enjoyed the conversation, listening to our colleagues. I acknowledge your presence, Suresh, in almost all our sessions. You're there, you're participating. Your head is full of questions. So on behalf of the audience here, on behalf of ICF Oman board, GP, do you want to share the screen or? Yeah. We're just sharing this with you as a token of appreciation of your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And efforts. Thank you so much, Suresh. Thanks, everyone. We love seeing you around. And more to come. Thank you, GP. Back to you, dear.
Thank you.